Welcome to this week's episode of Merricks Garage. A little different for you this week in the fact that I'm just going to turn the cameras on and let you guys see what I'm doing. I have a lot to do before the hammers next week, but I think I have a fighting chance. The challenge is going to be road testing everything. I mean, the reality is I have a lot of stuff left to bolt in and to finish up. But after I've done that, I want to make sure that my brakes work, that the suspension works, that the steering works, that the truck drives down the street safely. And that stuff takes time. So I gotta stop talking to you guys and I gotta get wrenching. But check it out, this video's fun. Merricks Garage. Okay, this is where we have left the last video. You'll see that, yeah, I got a bunch of stuff dialed, but I don't have any fenders or my front clip on. So here is my front clip. Let me show you this side to begin with. I pulled it all off, painted everything, got it all ready. What I would love to be able to do with the front quarters and the core support is just undo some bolts and pop them off. I built the wiring into the core supports and into the fenders, and as a result it's kind of a nest to remove. So I'm trying to simplify and get everything just codified down to a single point. Maybe I'll do like a big bulkhead connector or something like that. I don't know yet. But what I do think I'm going to do is build the core support so that it comes out in one piece. Disconnect all the electrical and cooling lines and pop it out. So that's what I've done. I'll show you what's come so far, and then we got a little bit more to do on this before it goes back in. So, core support. First and foremost, I got rid of this secondary headlight and I just welded a piece of angle iron on here to put these pods on. So my high beams will now be those pods. I've also got a new condenser from Vintage Air. So this has been mounted securely. I've gone through and just double, triple checked and Loctited everything on that. That's another thing I'm trying to do. I want to Loctite everything. There's just no reason to not have Loctite on something unless you need to be removing it all the time. Even when it says permanent, it rarely is. You can still get that stuff off. So I use the red Loctite. I use the blue sometimes and the green occasionally too. There's a wicking compound that I've started using, or sorry, I bought some. I haven't used it yet because I'm curious to see how that works. But anyway, back to this guy. Here is the Griffin radiator. Now, full disclosure, this is my fourth Griffin radiator, and they've all leaked. So Griffin have sent me this one, which is the first time that they've sent me one. I've had to buy new ones every time, which has been incredibly frustrating. But, you know, I don't know whether it was something I was doing. I mean, let's be honest, I did roll my truck. The first one I received from them was damaged. The second one I received started leaking. The third one started leaking. Not a significant leak, but basically when it pressurizes, that's when it leaks. So I reached out to them, and after some discussions, they've sent me this redesigned unit they have. They're not telling me too much about it other than it's a collaboration with the Ultra 4 Racing, and it involves some more reinforcement and ribbing inside, some structural stuff that I won't see. But I have gone ahead and mounted it as securely as I can. I wanted to use the Griffin mount, so I picked up a set of those, and I'll show you how I've got them on the truck. So these are the Griffin mounts right here. You'll see them. And these guys are being bolted onto the frame down here. And notice there is nothing interfering. That's just some seal. And then up top, I have drilled and placed this top bolt in. The fan shroud has been installed. And then over on this side, I just threw some heavy tacks on, and they are the same thing. So this is one piece right now. I've got to throw the LED light bar and the grill on here and the trim, and this thing will be one piece ready to go. So that's the next step. Okay, another morning, I'm back at it. Sunday. I've got like 10 days to get this done. Today I am going to be focusing on the coolers, transmission cooler and power steering cooler, and also starting to try and get a handle on the wiring. Let me show you my wiring. Everything's pretty much dialed in with the wiring. It just needs to be labeled and cleaned up. Yeah. I'm going to take this opportunity to talk to you guys a little bit about wiring too. And then you see the cooling is tucked away down in there. That's not going to be permanent, but hopefully have some place for it that is nice and out of the way. Yeah, I know what you guys are thinking here. This looks like a disaster and looks complicated, but it really isn't that bad. I'm gonna go through some electrical stuff here. But basically, there's a couple of rules that you just gotta remember when you're working with electrical. That all it is a current through a wire. You've either got a positive current or you've got a negative current returning. You've got fuses that control the flow and are fusible links in the system. I've got those here. I've got this one here for the AC. I've got this one here for the fridge. You've got your PCM, which is going to be right here. This is the brains of the system. This is what controls everything. Then off of that, you've got up here, you've got TAC modules, which are what the gas pedal goes into. So input from this goes into a box, and input goes to here, which comes back to the PCM. So what I am trying to do right now is separate my wiring into distinct groups so I can figure out how to route it. As I mentioned before, I want to route as much stuff as I can over the hoops and keep them with the engine. That way, the quarter panels, when they do go back on, will be able to be removed without a ton of headache. You can see what I've got here. My transmission lines running to the transmission, to the cooler, and to the radiator. I have one 12-volt switched main, which runs down to the hell roaring isolator and gives power to primary and secondary. I've got this is my headlight circuit. So this is where all my headlights, high beams, low beams are on. That's gonna go over there. And those are my two main systems. Running down off of the fuse box, you're gonna see that I've got a bunch of wiring going up here. This is for my fans, the relay, and the air conditioning, because the air conditioning is gonna have to use the fans also. The fans are going to be controlled by several things. They're going to be controlled by the engine temperature, obviously, and they're also going to be controlled by the AC pressure. So that's why there's multiple entries into the fans, and they're all controlled through a relay and then secondarily through the PCM. Electrical works the way it should. If you're having issues with electrical, it's going to be, caused by 5 or 6 things that you just need to isolate and work your way through. The difficulty with electrical is who knows where the problem could be. If you've got a short, it could be anywhere in the system. Now with experience, you start to know where to look. It's almost always going to be at the origination or termination of the wiring. It's very rarely going to be in the middle. That's why it's important when you're running new wiring to really protect it, to put it in a conduit, to wrap it up, to have it insulated so that it does not rub through and short, because then it's going to be a pain to find if it's on top of your transmission, for example. So I make it a point to really protect the wiring so that when I do come to troubleshoot, I start at the origination and the termination. Origination, is that a word? Anyway, I start at the 12-volt switched and then check the ground. It's that simple. This is my headlight harness that I've just kind of put together. Pretty simple system. This does have the relay built in, but main power, labeled obviously, running up to relays, then running down to headlight switch to integrate to the main harness, and then splitting off into passenger side and driver's side. So this harness right here is what plugs in to power my headlights, both high and low beams. A really busy weekend, but it didn't feel like I was getting a whole lot of stuff done. I'm sure that's because I was just doing little things and, you know, not putting in shocks and removing axles, but the wiring is coming together. I've gone through about 2 rolls of electrical tape so far, which is fine. Still trying to figure this guy out. This is a decent place for the cooler, but not my all-time favorite. And then I've got to get these guys situated and run and get the core support put back in. Speaking of the core support, here it all is, and it's going to be one piece now. This will all come in and go out together, and yeah, happy with how this is turning out. Okay, so it is Tuesday night. I have 9 days. I got 9 days, which sounds like a ton, but let's be honest. 3 kids, full-time job, I don't have 9 days. So I am burning the midnight oil here. I've recruited a bunch of friends to come over this weekend. Hopefully I'm gonna get the truck finished this weekend. I hope to have a video up for you guys this week so you can see where we stand. But what I'm doing today, I'm trying to be quiet because my neighbors, but I just want to get a bunch of wiring situated. I want to get things buttoned up. I've got the transmission cooler mounted where I want it. I'm just wiring it up. I got the power steering reservoir in. That's good to go. So I'm knocking things off the list, but tonight it's finishing up this core support and getting it as ready as I can. It's looking good. We're making progress. Let's keep going. So the core support is ready to go back on. You can see it's all in one unit right here. And here's the transmission cooler is all hooked up. This is power for the light bar. Obviously, I'm going to hook into here for the headlights. This is power for the fans, the transmission cooler that runs into here. Power gets drawn. These are all wrapped together, but they're not necessarily linked together at all. Ground, everything else good. I'm going to run into here the ground and power switch for the little light that illuminates on my dash. But this is set and ready to go. And then moving over here, I got some plumbing stuff I've got to deal with. I need to change this out to a 45 or 90. I'll probably remove and put that one right there. But I got the pump installed. You can see the master and the proportioning valve are in. I need to replace that line. I kinked it when I put it in. And now it's just a matter of getting all these lines made to work. But it's coming together. Probably got about another 15 hours of work, I would guess. But I'm looking good. I got some time. I got some people coming over. Let's go get it. Hey, look, it's Nick with the Durablazer. That's not anywhere closer to being finished, but it's looking pretty cool. The frame's badass. I'll have a video coming for that as soon as I got done with mine. I've been a little busy, but Nick is going to help me get this core support up in place, and then we can start bolting things in. So we're in a pretty good spot here to get things mounted. So let's do it. Yeah, that looks awesome.